Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM20 story, A Wandering Dork with me, Daniel. It's Season 1, Episode 7, and today we're back for a crucial final game of the National League South season as we head to Hemel Hempstead, a side we obviously managed in the head coach last year. A few of you have been saying you want to see this game because we've got a bit of a rivalry with them on the channel in the past. We've had a bit of a tough time when we've managed them previously, and today we'll be hoping to get the ultimate revenge. We start on the profile of Kevin Kavanagh, just to avoid any spoilers, and also to show you the effects of the youth mentoring groups that we showed you earlier in the season. His personality's now gone up to fairly professional, and he's starting to develop quite nicely off the pitch. He's also signed a professional deal, of course, which most of the other youngsters have too. So before we go and get into the episode, a massive thank you to everyone who's followed the series so far. If you are new to the channel and enjoying the series, please do put a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the channel for daily FM20 content from this Dorking Wanderers story and our Luton Town beta save. If you've missed any of the series so far, you can catch up from the link in the eye above, where you'll be able to find the whole playlist from the start of the year. But for us, we're going to go and get into this episode by showing you how things have been going recently. So if we look at the league table, we're in 6th place going into the final game. Of course, enough to get into the playoffs at this level. It'd be a quarter final playing against a side from 4th or 5th, so it wouldn't be the easiest of games by any means. But Hemel Hempstead down in 10th place, now a heavy win could sneak them into the top 7, and as a result, I'm sure they'll be fighting hard. But for us, we are favourites to get into the playoffs today, though there is still a way we could miss out. If Dartford get a result and Bath win, and we then fall to defeat, we'll of course miss out in that occasion. There's got to be a massive swing for Slough or Hemel Hempstead to finish above us, so I'm not too worried about those ones. But there is a genuine concern if we lose this game that we could well miss out and finish in 8th. So I just want to firstly go and see who both Bath and Dartford are playing today. Of course that's going to be crucial to this game. So let's see who they've got. Bath are away to Havant and Waterlooville, a fairly difficult game for them. Dartford have got pretty much a home banker against Hungerford. We wouldn't expect them to be losing. Slough Town have got a game at home to Hampton and Richmond too, so they may well be able to rack up a heavy win. And then above us we could yet finish in 5th place, but Dulwich Hamlet have got a good home game too. A massive thank you to everyone that supported this season so far, and apologies again for Friday's episode where we did have a little bit of a croaky voice. It's improving today, but it's not quite back to normal yet, so hopefully it won't have too much of a bearing on our commentary. But let's go and have a look at the transfers quickly. We had one more space come in before the end of the window, and it was a left back as well, which we desperately needed. Freddie Grant on a free transfer. Played for Maidenhead earlier this season, Wealdstone the year before, and he's got a pretty good level of experience for a young player, over 150 games in non-league football. He's played 4 for us and got 1 assist already, and he's fairly versatile as well. 3-star ability, 3.5 potential. It looks good because he's on non-contract terms, but we're paying him a massive appearance fee at the moment. So if we don't go up this season, we'll try and find a cheaper alternative, and unfortunately we'll probably have to let him leave. The other good thing would be if he just signed for 200 or 300 quid a week. That would make it a lot cheaper for us, but I don't think that's going to be forthcoming anytime soon, so this could well be his last game for us. But if he can help us to an unlikely promotion, it would then of course become irrelevant, as we'd be expecting to pay higher wages at the next level, and he'd very much be a part of it. But let's go and have a look at the schedule, just to see the few games we've had off camera, and then we've got our youth intake to look at before the game, which of course is an exciting moment in a long-term story, always the most important part of the year, and I can't wait to show you this year's one. So after the Slough game on camera last time, we drew 0-0 away to Concord Rangers. Good to sort our defence out again, and it did just bring us back into playoff contention. We arguably should have won it as Jason Pryor missed a penalty, but otherwise we got dominated in the game, and it was a really stern defensive performance. We then lost 1-0 against champions in waiting Braintree. I think they have wrapped it up already now. They've won it by 15 points in the end. Remarkable turn of events for them. Relegated last season, they had a poor year, and this year they've responded in the best possible fashion. Ironically, Paul Konchesky was the best player for us in that game, then barely has played a minute since. In the following one, we won 3-0 against Havant and Waterlooville, a game that we were previously going to show on camera. It's a good job we didn't in the end, because Jonah Ayunga didn't play, though he has been brought up in our scout reports for the summer, so I'd love to be able to sign him. But both of our front two contributing there, Jason Pryor getting another couple of goals. Then into April, a 4-1 victory followed against Chelmsford, again Pryor with 2 goals, Luke Rawson with another off the bench, he's been a really good signing for us, and Tom Richards with a goal from the wing too. And then a 2-0 win at home to Dulwich Hamlet. Fabio Lopez finally coming to the party, started on the right wing in this one and managed to get a brace, and it led to a fairly comfortable victory. And then what could be the most crucial result, a point away at Billericay. We got outplayed, but we managed to nick the point, and that's put us in contention for a playoff place. If we'd drawn this, then Hemel Hempstead and Slough could have overtaken us, but now we put it down to 2 from 3. I think our chances are far better. So it might not be the end of the season just yet. We could have a couple more to come in the playoffs, but of course we've got to get through today's game unscathed, and we need to pick up at least a point. We've got pretty much a full squad to choose from, no one listed as injured or suspended, so before we get into it, let's quickly go and look at our youth intake, and then we'll go and get straight into the match. So our youth candidates, unfortunately, is a real disappointment. We had all that talk in the preview about a left midfielder who was good, and now we haven't even got one in the intake, but Brian King, who's got 1-star potential. So unless he was poached in the last 3 or 4 months, I've got no idea where that report came from. Maybe it was just inaccurate from our head of youth development. His stats are pretty terrible. So we've got Kay Montgomery and Ricky Melbourne. Both have 3-star potential, but they're terrible players at the moment, and they are that little bit older, so I honestly don't think either of them will make it. They've not got wonderful personalities, but they may well make it at this level for someone else, but it's not the sort of players we're looking for moving forward. So I think in terms of this intake, unfortunately it's a disappointment. But let's not hold it up any longer. It's a crucial game against Hemel Hempstead. We love to get revenge for the start of last year's head coach series, where those of you following obviously know the history. If you haven't, you can go back and catch up with it. It really was quite an interesting tale, and they've got a big audience there as well today, as they could of course still sneak in the playoffs. I know the goal difference gap to us is massive, but it's only 4 to Dartford, so the other results going their way could help them in, and it wouldn't be a disaster for us either, because if they get in the playoffs, it likely means that we will have too. We've gone just about as strong as we can, only one change to our normal team. Briggs has been dropped on the right wing, he has had a decent spell, but Fabio Lopez scored 2 in the last game, so I've got to keep him on that right hand side. I called him Fabio Lewis in the last episode I think, so I'll try and get the names right today. I'm not feeling quite as under the weather, so I don't think I've got as much of an excuse. But it's Hale Brown in goal, Grant and Ramsey the fullbacks. You'll obviously see the new signing in action at left back for the first time. Ellis joins Parker at centre half. We've got Lewis and Gallagher in the middle, Lopez and Richards on the wing, and then Pryor up front with Buchanan joining him. I think he's still going for the golden boot. Just one behind Liam Nash of Hemel Hempstead, so they're going to have their own little personal battle today. So let's go and get into this game against Hemel and hope we can sneak into the top 7. Well, the Sean Dyche voice returned at the end of that segment as we go and get into this final game of the season. So 4-4-2 for Hemel Hempstead, and they've got a pretty star-studded squad this season. Connor Essam and Jake Howes, both former Luton players. Howes playing in particular around 300 games for the club. Isaac Galliford played at Hitchin last year, was a real star for them in the division below. And Rob Sinclair, another former Luton youth man, he's played a lot of games at National League level. So they've got a really good side, obviously the top scorer in the division too, and I think this is going to be a really difficult game, so we'll tell the lads that there's no pressure on them. The last thing we want is them getting nervous and not performing to the best of their abilities, as we'd almost certainly lose if that was the case, and we don't want that to be happening. So let's get the league table up on the screen here, and we will do the same with the latest results after. Of course we're keeping an eye out for Bath and Dartford, both of whom are going to be competing. It's Nash in behind. I've made up a word there, as Nash puts one just wide of the post, nearly added to his tally for the season. He really looks like a threat up there. So we'll try not to make up any more words in this episode, and hopefully our voice will get through it. But Bath are behind early on, so it's a very good start for us, and we've now got the ball with Lopez on the right. Plays it to Lewis and he goes long. Tries to find Buchanan but it's intercepted, but in the end it's fallen back to Jake Gallagher in the middle. He finds Lewis yet again. Can we unlock the defence here? Gallagher forced back to Richards. Buchanan plays a nice one too with him. It's lovely football, but we haven't got in yet, though Pryor's holding it up as a target man. Loses the ball eventually though, and it's long to Nash down the right wing for Hemel. There's 2 in the box and we've got to close the cross. Into Sinclair. Oh, it hits the post and then the keeper. In real life we saw one of those with Kepper in the week, and thankfully this one didn't cost us. The corner Corner's headed away to the edge to Knowles, and it's back out to Howes on the right. He delivers to the back stick, Ramsey heads away, and they still haven't managed a shot on target, and it's 0-0 with 20 gone. It's a long ball over from a free kick, into Pryor who shoots. His shot's gone backwards in the end. I don't know if he was trying to pass it perhaps, as Parker intercepts the long ball. Falls for Richards on the left-hand side. He goes inside to Gallagher, finds Lewis in the centre circle. We're just trying to find that opening there. Lovely football, but we're not creating much, though Lewis puts a lovely slid ball through, into Buchanan. The keeper got a hand to it but couldn't stop it. Richards with a brilliant delivery from the left, and Buchanan nods it into the bottom corner. Perhaps the keeper could have got a stronger hand to it, but it's 1-0 to Dorking, and we're about to get ourselves in the playoffs. Am I speaking too soon though? It's Hemel on the attack almost immediately, out to Knowles on the right hand side, 3 in the box and 1 to the back post. Howes heads it in. We mentioned in pre-game he's played hundreds of games for Luton, and he scores the goal for Hemel Hempstead there, and our joy was very much short-lived. We're still in 6th and 3 points clear, but if Bath turn it round we're now in trouble. It's a free kick for Hemel again. Howes 25 yards out, lays it to German who shoots. It deflects and it's into the roof of the net. And with half an hour gone, we're now behind for the first time. And you can't say Hemel haven't come back well. We dominated until we scored, and it's nearly 3 as German forces a brilliant save. Hale Brown keeping us in it there. The delivery from Jake Howes is absolutely ridiculous, and it's causing us all worlds of trouble. 10 to the break, we're 2-1 down, but now we're back with an attacking corner. Into Ellis, the 16-year-old. His header just over the bar, and the voice is cracking, but the scoreline's still poor. We're losing 2-1 to Hemel Hempstead. Well, we're back with a free kick for Hemel just before halfway. It's out to the left-hand side to Bradbury. Through ball finds Nash. He shoots and is saved. Hale Brown again brilliant. But the one-on-one chances we know is a problem in the beater. Hopefully it'll help us out today. It's Gallagher heading away the corner. Only as far as Rob Sinclair though. He switches it to Howes. It's amazing how much money Hemel have pumped into their side. Got such an improvement from last year, but he just had all those oldies. It's Gallagher nicking it high up the pitch though. Trying to wait for Richards on the overlap. In the end, forced back to Parker, and the danger ends, and with it the half, and unfortunately we trail 2-1. So Bath are back on level terms. They now just need a goal to get in the playoffs. Dartford are above us because they're drawing, and if all of those results occur we will finish in 8th or 9th place and unfortunately miss out on the playoffs. So we need Havant and Waterlooville to do us a favour. Realistically, Bath are the only side that can stop us. Alternatively, if Dartford go behind to Hungerford, that'll put us back in the top 7. So let's go and talk to the lads, remind them there's no pressure at all. They've actually played quite well, to be honest. It's just that we've been undone by good delivery, and unfortunately we're not quite strong enough at the back. Into the second half though, we'll hope for a goal, and we just need a point to be assured of the playoffs. It's Essen with a header away as far as Richards. He finds Gallagher in the centre circle. We're trying to create that chance, but there's no real opening just yet. Though in behind goes Buchanan, shoots and it's a good save. Second one hits the post, and he's finally gone behind for a goal kick. A golden opportunity wasted. An hour gone and we still trail here, but we're clinging on to the top 7 at the moment. It's German on the left to Bradbury. Howes with the ball on the edge of the box. Good ball into Knowles, just over the bar. That could have been it, but fortunately it's not. We're still clinging on to this game. We're 2-1 down, but we've got a good chance. We just need to create that moment. But Sinclair's coming forward for Hemel again, and they're starting to get on top here. Out to the left-hand side to Howes. Lovely switch of play in the end. Good delivery to Knowles at the back stick. He shoots and is saved. What a brilliant bit of goalkeeping, Hale Brown, and Lewis eventually hoofs clear. Up to Pryor on halfway. Can we counter now with Buchanan? We can't, as Essen heads it clear, and it falls for Lewis in the middle again. A quarter of the game remaining. My voice is really starting to go now, but unfortunately the disappointment's with it as we continue to trail at Hemel. His Knowles on the right hand side of the box. Deflects away to Sinclair, but it's back out to Knowles again. He's got acres of space. Into German. That's game over. We're now relying on Bath. Let's just go and look at the other scores. The pressure's got to us on the final day, and unfortunately we're going to fall to defeat. We will go and make a couple of changes, but look what's happened in the meantime. We've dropped down to 8th in the league. Dartford hanging on for their 0-0 draw, I think, and unfortunately Bath are now ahead. So it could be the most agonising way to miss out, and we've got to try and find 2 goals from somewhere. Imagine that, missing out from 6th place pre-game. It really would be a disaster. We're going to take Fabio Lopez off. He's had a really poor game. Briggs back on for him. I can't take Pryor off. He's the top scorer at the club. Jake Gallagher's had an average game, as has Stuart Lewis. So I'm going to bring Tom Whelan on as an attacking central midfielder, just to give us that impetus moving forward. And then I'm not quite sure what else I can do. I think we'll just stick with that for now. So we're going to get back into it. We're going to go a bit more positive, but we desperately need 2 goals, or one from Havant and Waterlooville. It's into the box and Hemel Head just wide again. Could have been 4 there, and I've torn my voice to shreds just to watch us lose. I couldn't be more disappointed. It's out to the left hand side, but we've given it away again. Knowles wins it back for Galliford. Long ball forward and Howes is in on the left. His delivery's been brilliant all day. He cuts it back this time to Sinclair though it eventually finds him again. Bradbury on the left to Sinclair. Finds Howes who plays a 1-2. Shoots this, hit the post, and Parker clears it away on the rebound. I'm really disappointed with how we've played today. The first half we were brilliant, and we've absolutely clapped since. Pryor heads away the corner though. Knowles finds Howes yet again. There's so much time, but Whelan clears, and he falls for Briggs on the right. Charging forward, there's not much pressure on him. He's got 2 in the box if he can find them. He's headed away and out to the wide area, but again we're back with a corner. Richards into Whelan, heads it just over. It's not going to be our day, is it? There's so many chances for a game on key highlights. Been 45 between the 2 sides already. Nearly 20 on target as well. It's been a really interesting game. Both of the strikers who are top scorers in the league, not been able to do anything in this one. I feel we have to leave Pryor on to give him the chance. Otherwise we're going to take off Tom Richards. In fact we're not. We're going to put him back to left back. He's going to go on to an attacking duty. We've got to chase this game now. We'll do the same with Ramsey on the other side. Grant's going to be replaced by Rawson, and he's going to go up front I think, with Elliot Buchanan going to the left. They're both going to go on attacking duties, and we're just going to throw everyone forward. So 15 to go, let's see if we can do it. We're going to go all out attack as well. We'll keep a very close eye on the other game though. Bath have now scored a 3rd, and I think we've just got to concede it's over. Unless Hungerford can nick a winner from somewhere, I'm afraid it's going to be our unlucky day. But Dartford have had a red card there actually, so perhaps that's not beyond the realms. We've got to keep an eye on that as Buchanan comes forward. Good effort which is saved and tipped over. I really felt like we were going to have our moment there. Unfortunately it's not the case. If we come back and get a result, I will probably go absolutely mad as Richards crosses. It's into that corridor again, but no one's getting on the end of it. Just someone throw your limbs at the ball. No one's willing to put their body on the line. It's been a good first season and we've overachieved no matter what, but to finish 8th is so agonising, and I just really wanted to sneak into that top 7. Would have been such a good step moving forward. Pryor's in and Briggs has scored, but again the offside flag's up. It's just not falling our way today, and I think unfortunately that's it. So unless Dartford have let in a late goal, I'm afraid we are narrowly going to miss out on goal difference or by a point on the final day. It couldn't have been much closer. But don't forget, it's our first season at this level. We were expecting a mid-table finish, and I really am proud of the lads for this season, but unfortunately we've fallen short of the final hurdle. Well, there's the confirmation. An absolutely agonising final day of the season. Apologies again for the slight crack in the voice. It really can't cope with these commentaries at the moment. We miss out by 1 point on a playoff place, despite having the 2nd best goal difference in the league. We really have been a force to be reckoned with going forward, but at the back we've been absolutely woeful. It's cost us today, conceding 3 goals in an even match, as Bath won 3-1 at Havant and Waterlooville, and Dartford got a 0-0 with 10 men against Hungerford, and that sneaks them above us into 7th spot. But a really good first season at this level. We've certainly competed very well, and those 2 youngsters on 3,800 a week are leaving soon, so that gives us a chance to rebuild the side. The one thing we have got to be very wary of though, the finances are now absolutely critical. Minus £500,000, and it's falling very, very quickly. I'm not quite sure how we can rectify that, as we don't have players worth any money. You can see a couple of the little sneak previews on the screen here. The next season's wage budget is going down by £2,000 a week. That's something we've got to be concerned about too. But if we go and have a look at the squad quickly, just to do a very brief end of season review. Of course, we are doing a proper review episode at the end of each season, and I'm calling it a review. That's a very loose term. We're going to look in depth at a couple of areas at the club. So this season we're going to look at our transfer policy in particular, and we're also going to look at our squad for next season. There's going to be massive changes. We can finally get out all all the deadwood that are on 1 year deals. So you can see those players that aren't on the bench there. Elabt, Luke Moore, David Ray, they've all been on the transfer list for ages. Niall McManus in that group as well. And there's a few other players that just won't be good enough, and some that refuse to sign new deals. We want to build a young core with players on cheap wages who we can get a resale value out of in the future, and to be able to develop them is a really special thing, so I'm hoping we'll be able to do so. We'll try and keep a couple of players on loan as well. A few of them have been stars for us, but again it's going to depend on wages as the club is in a terrible financial state. So let's quickly put it into selection info so you can see who the best rated players are for the season. Jason Pryor, top scorer with 36 goals. Again, the second top scorer in the National League South. Ellis came in at 16 and did a really solid job at centre half. But of course, losing Brady halfway through the year really did harm us as we went on. But a really good season, a couple of really big scorers and assist makers. In terms of goals, we got Buchanan on 17 as well. 15 assists for Tom Richards. But we've just got to pick out a few positions to improve next year. There's a couple I've got my eye on. So let me know in the comments where you think we need to improve. For me, it's very obvious, and we'll talk about it more in depth in the review episode tomorrow, which I really hope you'll come and join me for. But if you did enjoy this episode and this first season with Dorking Wanderers, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the game and the way we agonisingly missed out on a promotion push. We missed out on the playoffs by a point in the end, but it really has been a solid first season. As I mentioned, tomorrow we'll see the debut of our review episodes, which we'll do at the end of each season. And I know it's not really a review, but I can't think of another good name. It'll just be a recap and a look around the club, and we'll pick a couple of key areas each year, and we'll go through them in a really in-depth manner. So if we do get a good youth intake in the future, we'll probably have a look at that in more detail, and we will do training and tactics and things like that 1 year too, and probably staffing when we do a revolution, but for now we're just looking at the key areas. So transfer policy in non-league is essential, particularly when we're trying to manage a reducing wage bill, and also we're going to have a look at this squad in detail, as it's probably going to be the biggest overhaul we ever do. All of the players that we inherited that we no longer want at the club, we're going to be able to make those adjustments and really step up to this higher level. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM20 content from my long-term story with Dorking Wanderers. We've got 5 episodes a week from this one, and then 2 a week from our FM20 Beta Save with Luton Town, which will continue on Tuesday at midday. And then following our review episode tomorrow, we'll be back on Wednesday with the first episode from Season 2. I'm assuring you now it'll be a very busy transfer window, unless the club manages to go bust in the meantime. So hopefully we'll be able to push for the top 7 next year, particularly as we've overachieved in this season. In terms of the club vision, we were only expecting mid-table, and they're already talking about us reaching a 5-year plan. So that shows just how well we're doing, and hopefully the board will stay on side with us. Our job security's good, and we look to have impressed, so I'm hoping we'll be able to continue our good work. So a massive thanks for watching this one and your continued support with the series as always. I really do appreciate you joining me for the first season, and I hope you'll be back tomorrow to look at our review episode before we start season 2 in just a couple of days' time.